Great. Well, everyone, thank you so much for your time, which is very precious to all small business owners. I am Danielle Vidals. I run Woofs and Whiskers right here in Red Hook on Cole Street. I sit on the advisory committee of the Red Hook Brooklyn Alliance. And some of you might know me through some of my not-for-profit work. I've sat on the board of Core Dance as well. Just briefly, the reason we came together and created the Alliance was because a lot of people were talking about what's going on in Red Hook, but there weren't a lot of voices from Red Hook, from the business community in particular. So we came together really with a focus on inclusion and diversity, not only people, but the industries, and to really tackle ways in which past organizations just did not flourish because of lack of transparency and diversity. So we are tackling those head on. Again, thank you for your time. We are embracing the service industry, manufacturing, retail, not-for-profit, of course, is very important right here in Red Hook. We also welcome, the at-home and the freelancers as well as the artists. So this is really, an open forum to come together for one voice, to create one voice to advocate for, unify, support, and promote the business community of Red Hook, which is obviously really important to all of us on many levels because a good many of us live here and work here. We are here to hopefully provide mentorships and resources kind of to create a microeconomy and to really just support each other, which, for those of you that have been through Sandy, we're really good at. And so here's a more formalized way to do that. One of the resources we'd like to bring to you is Lee Jacobs. Thank you, Lee, so much for joining us. It has been, I know our relationship is new, but it's been a positive one on my end. Lee Jacobs works for Helbron and Levy firm. And correct me if I'm wrong, but they focus mostly on the hospitality industry and small businesses. They have been incredibly helpful and supportive of me. I really feel like they hear me and see me for who I am. Lee is a managing partner over there and the chair of the Employment Practices Group and has tons of information to share. He's also an adjunct professor of law at Brooklyn Law School. He's a natural born teacher and I've learned a lot from him and his cohort already. So I will turn it over to you, Lee. Thank you again for your time and thank you everybody for showing up. Please drop questions in the chat if you'd like. We'll try and get to a short Q&A afterwards. He's going to address some HR issues that bog all of us down, which we all, I'm sure, agree that are important, but seem a little cumbersome. How about that?
Yeah, I think that's a fair way to put it. Thank you, Danielle. Good morning, everybody. As Danielle said, my name is Lee Jacobs. I am an attorney at the law firm of Helbron Levy. It's managing partner and chair of the Employment Practices Division. And I've been practicing law for about the past 15, 16 years. And I found my sweet spot here in the employment practices, working with primarily people in the hospitality industry and also in the service industry, providing, customer service. You own a store, you have hourly employees, you're dealing with customers, dealing with the city, dealing with the state. And odds are, none of you on this call got into your business with a plan to sit there in the back of the room like Monty Burns, twiddling your fingers, going, how am I going to screw my employees and exploit my customers or poison my customers? When we get into our business, and if you're taking the time to be on this call and this morning, odds are you're doing what you're doing for a very good reason. And it's not that you don't know the rules that apply to you because you choose not to know them. It's just because you don't know them. And it's a very Byzantine, very elaborate, very complicated structure. And the same rules that apply to corporate America, companies that have thousands upon thousands of employees, also apply to you here in the state of New York. So what I thought I'd do with the 20 minutes or so that I was given and about 15 minutes that I have left was that I'd spend about 10 minutes giving you, here are the hot things you should know right now, and then spend the last period of time opening the floor to questions. As a reminder, this does not constitute an the attorney-client privilege. Anything that I say does not create an attorney-client communication. This is all for educational purposes only and in hypothetical settings. And I remind you that you are in an open forum and you are being recorded. So if you are going to ask questions, just remember that you are in an open forum. Happy to answer questions here and after the fact as well. Okay, so New York 2022, New York City. Here are some basic things that we need to know immediately right from the start. Minimum wage is $15 an hour. Hard stop, period. Minimum wage is $15 an hour. If you are in the hospitality industry and you are able to take the tip credit, meaning you have servers, bussers, bartenders, bar packs, that are eligible to take the tip credit, you are still paying them $15 an hour with a $5 tip credit taken, meaning they're being paid $10 an hour effectively on their paycheck, but minimum wage, what they're being paid, still remains $15 an hour. Overtime. Overtime in New York State only applies when someone works more than 40 hours in one work week. Overtime does not mean Sunday. Overtime does not mean Christmas, Easter, New Year's, Yom Kippur, whatever you want to call it day. Overtime in New York State is only at 40 hours in one work week. And I see someone has raised their hand, and I think that's Victoria. You have a question?
Yeah, is that for like salary positions as well? Like if someone's a full-time salary with benefits and everything?
We're going to come to that in a moment. So just hang on
Okay,
to that
sorry.
question. No,
Sorry.
absolutely. No, please. And if anyone's got questions, please either raise their hand. And if I see you in the screen, please, I'll nod at you. I'll call on you out. But if you also want to raise your hand electronically, if I don't see you as well. I've been doing these Zoom sessions now for quite some time. And I've gotten the hang of being able to foster like an interactive conversation. So please just raise your hand. So minimum wage, again, only 40 hours in one work week, and it's 1.5 times your base rate. So if you're $15 an hour, it's $22.50. If you're $20 an hour, it's $30 an hour. And if you're tip credit eligible, you take the tip credit out after the minimum, the overtime is applied. So $15 an hour, overtime is $22.50 minus tip credit, hourly wage is $17.50, $5 tip credit. Now, before we jump into the exempt question, I want to share my screen and show this one form. Let me see, hopefully this will work. As I just said, I've been doing this forever. And of course, it's not going to work because I just installed Zoom on this computer. So at any rate, there is a form called the LS-54. This is a wage acknowledgement form. And you can go into Google and you type LS-54. It is a form that you must give to every employee, regardless of what they do if they are an hourly employee. If they are an exempt employee, the form is called the LS-59. Exempt means salary exempt from overtime. The failure to give this form or the failure to have the form filled out correctly is a $50 per day penalty, capping at $5,000 per employee. So I'll repeat again, failure to do this form, an LS-54 for hourly employees, LS-59 for exempt or salaried employees, is a $50 per day penalty, capping at $5,000 per employee. So exempt, what does an exempt employee mean? An exempt employee means they are uneligible or they cannot receive overtime for working more than 40 hours in 1 week. We like to think that is, we pay someone a flat salary, boom, they're exempt, mazel tov, we're good to go. Unfortunately, that's not the case. We can call someone a manager, we can call someone a supervisor, we can call someone an exempt employee from being overtime, but there is a two-part test that you must meet in order to be exempt from overtime. The first part is a monetary threshold amount. you must pay an employee in New York City at least $1,125 per week, or $58,500 per year, in order for that employee to be exempt from overtime. So if you're paying an employee $1,000 a week, for example, and they're working for you 50 hours for that week because they're your manager or whatever it may be, you are illegally paying them, because they must be paid at least $1,125 a week to be considered exempt from overtime. But that's just the first part of the test. To give a little bit of history, so if you remember, in the late 90s, everyone at McDonald's was called an assistant manager. If you remember that, everybody behind the counter was an assistant manager. That was because under the federal law, if you just call someone a manager, they're a manager. Then the federal government said, this was under Bill Clinton, no, you have to pay someone a minimum amount and be called a manager in order to be exempt from overtime. That amount still remains today at $435 per week, which is the federal threshold for exempt. Under New York state rules in New York City, it's $1,125 per week. And then it's the second part of that test is a duties and responsibilities. You must pay a minimum amount, and you must actually do something and fall into an exempt category. There are various exemption categories, whether it's executive, professional, administrative, creative. Essentially, you have to fall into that category. You can't just call someone a manager. They actually have to manage, set schedules, hire and fire, and manage at least two people. Two people. Under the law, to be a manager, you have to manage not one, but two people, excluding yourself. If anyone needs any questions, helping figuring this out, sometimes it is a tricky thing, feel free to reach out to me and I'll provide my contact information at the end and in the chat so everyone's able to receive that. Any questions on minimum wage, exempt versus non-exempt, or the wage acknowledgement form? Okay. One last concept, it's called spread of hours. And just by a show of hands, I have everyone's screen up. Anyone hospitality industry, anyone coffee shop, bodega, anything like that to that nature? Okay, so then don't need to go into it, but just beware very carefully. If an employee works for you more than 10 hours in one day, they may be eligible for what's called a spread of hour premium. So even though they may have worked for just 10 hours that day, we're going to pay them as they've worked 11 hours. So in New York, a lot of our laws come from the late 1800s, early 1900s, and have not been changed or modified. We still have a day of rest law in New York, meaning that you need to have Sundays off under some circumstances in 2022. So some of our rules are very antiquated and outdated. Okay, so if you work, for example, one of them being if you work more than 10 hours in one day, you get a premium, you get an extra hour for that day. Okay, some workplace rules, some changes that are hot off the presses for 2022. Some of these come from New York State, New York City, and the federal government. Just as a high school civics reminder, the federal government sets the floor, the basics minimum wage under the federal government is $7.25 an hour. That's what it is in minimum wage in Nebraska. And then the state and city governments can come in and make that a higher requirement, like minimum wage being $15 per hour here in New York. As we all know, New York is an at-will state, meaning you can hire or fire anyone for no reason or any reason at all, except for we can't fire someone because of their protected class, their race, their gender, their marital status, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. In Nebraska, for example, it is completely legal and completely fine to fire someone for, if you're not a federal employee, if you're a private employee, for being gay. It's completely legal to discriminate against someone who's transitioning from one sex to another. That is illegal in the state of New York, because New York has much stricter rules as it applies to protected classes and what is allowed in and out of the workplace. And here are some of them that have just changed. Hairstyle protection. Under New York City rules, it is now illegal to discriminate against someone because their hairstyle, or head covering, is associated with their ethnic or religious background or history. So what I get, and I apologize, and I don't mean to pick on you, Amy, for example, but Amy's hair color, for example, to my knowledge, is not associated with a religious or ethnic history. But my advice to you as an employer is, why even bother to go down that conversation as opposed to it? Because it could be, and you could be opening up a whole can of apples and a whole can of worms. So my suggestion is that as long as someone's hairstyle, hair covering is neat, clean, and organized, and applied to your dress code as it is in your workplace, let people wear their hair however they choose to wear it, or wear a hair covering however you do. Because what you don't want to do is to get into someone and say, your hairstyle is, we don't allow this, and that person comes back and says, well, actually it's related to my ex, and now we have a discrimination potential issue. Yep, Victoria, question.
So many questions. Isn't it also you're not allowed to change prices based on people's gender, like charge different prices for a female or a male getting their hair cut?
That is also that is generally correct. However, if a female haircut is going to take significantly longer because a female haircut has more hair, more style, and it's got a lot more hair than what I've got left on mine, then you can do a difference in that. And the same thing applies to like dry cleaning. You can't do a standard, you can't charge different for the same garment, but if there's actual real difference, buttons being on a different side of the shirt, for instance, and your machinery needs to be changed or altered, you can make a difference. You can't just blanketly say one price for one price for another. And that comes to pronoun usage and pronouns. So for example, if you post a job on Craigslist that is looking for and I apologize for using the hospitality scenario, knowing that there aren't many hospitality people in here, but presume there was a job that you had that job implied a certain sex. For example, busboy, waitress, hostess, mail boy, like mailroom boy, not mail boy, but things that a job that means a job of a certain sex, that job is per se discriminatory under the law. And even though no one has applied for that job, I guarantee you will get a letter in the mail from the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, which is based in Boston, in their Boston office, because they have a web troll that will sit and monitor Craigslist and will look for things when you post busboy. We're looking for girls only, boys only. We're looking for mature or older workers, or we're looking for young and energetic workers, things that imply a certain age, a certain sex. And they are per se discriminatory, and you will lose immediately. So we want to have our job descriptions, our job postings, be as gender neutral as possible. And in addition to that, a change that came about this year from New York City, our job descriptions, whenever we post a job, must include the salary that we're going to pay now. It cannot be just saying, to be negotiated based upon experience. You must actually post what the salary range is going to be. And as a reminder, in New York City, you cannot ask someone what they made at their prior job. When they sit down from you across the table and they say to you that you can't ask them what they made, you can't have it in your job application, a line that says, what did you make at your prior jobs? That is illegal to ask those questions. You can ask, what do you hope to make here? But you cannot ask, what did you make at your prior job? Okay. It is now illegal in New York City and New York State for someone who's transitioning between sexes or does not identify with a particular sex to, if they have said to you their pronouns are not what they traditionally appear to be, and you continue to use those pronouns, the incorrect pronouns, or an individual's dead name after they transition, that is sexual discrimination and harassment under the law. Danielle, yes.
Just briefly, I'm assuming, I guess my question is, when do you ask them their pronouns? On an application seems inappropriate. Is it in an interview?
I think on an application is an appropriate place to do it. On an
It is.
application, you can have a box that says, what is your pronoun? Like there is for the younger people out there, it is completely normal now to have those boxes on it. They've been doing that for schools. They've been doing that for college applications, and it's accepted now. What we don't want is to just have he, him, she, her, and then not leaving another option. That is what's problematic. We want to make sure people have the ability to write down whatever their pronoun is or isn't. And this doesn't just apply to just you. If you have coworkers or employees that are harassing an employee because they're transitioning or they have transitioned, or you're using non-traditional pronouns and you are allowing that behavior to continue after knowing it's there, you are liable for sexual harassment and sexual discrimination. In Nebraska, this is completely legal. Here in New York, it is not. Okay, another change for the year that's coming into effect, and this came into effect no less than about 30 days ago. This is whistleblower protections have been expanded in the state of New York. So we all know, maybe, hopefully, and not to get political in any way, shape, or form, but the President Trump's first impeachment trial about Ukraine was all about a whistleblower. Someone blew the whistle on what President Trump has done or did not do. They're under federal and under New York law, there is whistleblower protections that if you blow the whistle in good faith, meaning you have a legitimate belief that something improper is happening against the law and you report it either to your employer or to an outside agency, the police, the state AG's office, the Department of Consumer Affairs, you are protected from any type of retaliation, meaning you can't have your job changed, you can't be fired, you can't have your hours cut, you can't have your role and responsibility changed. You are protected under both federal and state law if your complaint winds out to be wrong, but you had a good faith belief to think it was right and you weren't doing it to be malicious, you are still protected under the rules. If you're abusing the system, that's a different question. You're doing it just to annoy and harass. You can be disciplined for that. But what's changed here in New York now is that your whistleblower protections are protected even post-employment. So someone blows the whistle on you because you weren't paying minimum wage, and now this person is now applying for another job somewhere else, and they call for a reference check. Someone calls a reference check. You can't then retaliate against the employee and say, this was the worst employee on the face of my life, et cetera, and make things up and retaliate. You have protections post job if you should ever blow the whistle. One last one, and this one is coming into effect in May of 2022. By show of hands, how many people have cameras in their places of business? How many people allow their employees to use emails, like company email addresses? Okay. So, and I'm assuming those company email addresses are maybe like Gmail or Outlook that's going on in the background, or Exchange, or let me put it differently. If those email accounts are being saved in some manner, meaning that they're being backed up, you as the employer have access to these accounts. In short, if anyone is now being monitored or otherwise intercepted, so you have video cameras, we have apps on people's phones, they're using email accounts that we are monitor or be able to intercept, we have to give written notification to all of our employees by May 7th, 2022 of such monitoring. And that notification should be posted in a conspicuous place, so posted on the wall somewhere, and also given to them in a handbook. Last thing that I'm going to say, and I'm going to turn the Danielle, I think you have a question.
Just a quick point. I believe it's still germane or unlawful in New York to record audio of anybody without their knowledge. So is that correct?
So New York is actually a one-party consent state. So what I mean by that is that when you have two people on a telephone line in New York, if I'm on the call with Danielle and I consent to the phone recording, meaning me, I can record it. I don't have to let Danielle know about it at all because New York is a one-party consent state. In New Jersey, just on the other side of the river, it's a two-party consent rule. Both sides of the conversation need to be aware. I am, from an employment practices standpoint, I never, ever, ever want you recording conversations with employees. Even if it's a termination, it's a discipline, it's a bad conversation, you are much better suited to doing it with you and someone else who is a witness having the conversation with the employee. One person is asking all the questions and doing all the talking, another person is writing everything down. Because we're human beings. You could say something wrong. You could put your foot in your mouth during that meeting, and now it's on the tape recording to live forever. Whereas if it's just you, it's your story and your witness versus that of your employee. That is how the FBI does in their investigations, by the way. The FBI does not tape record meetings with people that they're investigating. It's always done with one person listening, another person writing. So that's, to wrap it up, no matter how big your business is, you should have an employee handbook, because that handbook is your sword to properly terminate and fire people, and it's your shield to protect you against people who claim you've done things wrong. Now, you can get a handbook from LegalZoom, you can get a handbook from your payroll provider, but I've been practicing long enough to know that having a handbook that is still sitting on the shelf, shrink wrapped, that you've never actually used, is worse than having no handbook at all. Because having that shrink wrapped handbook knows that you knew there were rules and you actively ignored them. Whereas having no handbook at all, we could maybe feign ignorance, though ignorance is no excuse under the law. So what you should do is you should have a handbook that's customized to your business so that so you will actually use it rather than being some generic ADP, TriNet, Paychex handbook that you're never going to use because it doesn't reflect you or your mission or your values or your culture. And in that handbook, we give you, or you no matter where you get it from, we'll have all of those notifications that you're supposed to give. Like, for example, did you know that you have to give written notification in New York to your employees about their rights under the election law, about that they can take time off to donate blood and bone marrow, that they can take time off if they're a victim of domestic violence? There are about 15 notifications you have to give in writing. Like one that we just talked about was that, the electronic monitoring. It's in your handbook. It's in your handbook with everything else. And every year you re-update your handbook, you give it to your employees, they all sign it, you file it away, and you've got it taken care of. I can't stress that enough, because that is your shield to protect you and your sword to properly fire people. So with that, I thank you all for paying for your attention, for your questions, and I'm available to hang around for any questions that you may have. Again, keep in mind, this is recorded, no attorney-client privilege, and no attorney-client relationship. Happy to help answer any questions.
Great. Hey, thanks, Lee. This is James Ellis. I see we have a couple comments. Chris from Shipwrecked. Unmute.
Hi.
Hi, Chris.
Hi. I just had a quick question. If your handbook is digital, we usually give them a link with a password to the handbook. So, and then they sign a final form that we keep that says that they've read and reviewed the handbook. Is that enough as a written notice?
That should be, but when we're playing in the world of hypotheticals, I go to my worst case scenarios, which unfortunately have happened. I've had plaintiffs' lawyers say, Yeah, they gave him a link to an English copy of the handbook, but he was a Spanish speaker and they only gave him 5 minutes to read it.
Okay.
So you got to, you give them a link, but then you're asking them to sign the paper. How soon after you gave them the link are they signing it? And are they sophisticated enough? Meaning, are they able to understand and read English? And can they access it electronically? Do they even own a computer or an iPad and able to access it when they need to? And if you have an electronic copy of the handbook, you should also have a written copy available for people, sitting in a binder on a shelf so people have access to it.
Okay.
Great. Any other questions or comments? Theo?
Where would be an appropriate place to report an employer who is delinquent? Is it Department of Consumer Affairs, or is there like an clear avenue for that?
So in meaning to consumer related things or employee related things?
It's sort of a hypothetical question, but I guess employee related things.
Sure. So and for employee related things, there's the State Department of Labor where you can make a complaint, and the State Department of Labor investigates every complaint that's made, regardless of where it's from or what the substance of it is.
Mhm.
And that's usually with pay is the Department of Labor. If we're talking about civil rights issues where discrimination or harassment, that's the State Division of Human Rights.
Okay.
Or the City Commission on Human Rights.
Okay.
And there's also always the Attorney General's office for the state, and for the city, the Department of Consumer Affairs is also available as well.
Okay. Thank you.
And that's included in your handbook that you get if you hire them to put that together. So I just read through that. And so that's how I kind of came to Lee was despite my best efforts, I had a disgruntled employee, to put it mildly, and they are working on my handbook. It's very extensive and reasonably priced from my perspective. So,
All right. Any other
Yeah,
questions or
I have a
comments?
question. Hi, I'm late to the party here, but question on the handbook. As an employer, how do we stay on top of the changing, laws that happen? You write a handbook. I don't know, this question might have been asked already. But often the laws change, and then we as the employers are always kind of playing catch up. I mean, what is the best way for us to make sure that we are doing right by our employees, but also making sure that we're compliant with the ever-changing landscape that happens?
Excellent question. So I can give you the range of things. The first one obviously is hire me or hire another professional where I would come in and teach you what you need to know now. We would get you your handbook, and then part of the services, that we include is that we would alert you when there are updates. We do the groundwork for you. Short of that, work with your payroll providers. Hopefully, if you are big enough that you have a good payroll provider, they should provide you with those updates and changes as they come about. And then the last part of it is that the information is there. And you literally don't have to be a lawyer to understand the state's Department of Labor's website and the documents that are up there, because it's written in clear English, but you need to be a computer technician to figure out how to navigate their website. Like the navigation's terrible, but once you get to the FAQs or the documents that say notices for employees, employers, they are written in clear English. It's just finding the right documents.
And what's your perspective or opinion on having an arbitration clause as a condition of employment?
So one, so for those that don't know what we're just to set this table here, you can, as part of your employee handbook, you can say to your employees that if you have any problem, you want to sue me, you have to go to arbitration as opposed to state court. So it's a private arbitration as opposed to a public lawsuit. Under state law, there's some things that are unarbitratable now. Sexual harassment claims, for example, and that's right, recently. So the first thing you got to ask yourself is that you're hiring a new employee. It's very hard to hire and attract people now. And the first thing they're being seen is sign an arbitration agreement. We're going to keep everything private. If we do anything wrong ever happens here. Is that the culture of your business? That's question one, even before we get to the legal side of that. Is that the culture and messaging you want to send to your employees? And now your employees are sitting across the table deciding whether or not they want to work for you. But from a lawyer's perspective, arbitration is always cheaper, faster, and private, and there's always benefits to that. From a legal perspective, if I can get you out of a problem without anyone knowing about it and make it cheaper and quicker than in traditional court, always wanted to do for it. My template in my handbook has the arbitration clause in it, and it's your decision whether to make it, and we'd have this conversation. It really comes down to an issue of culture, in my opinion. So what my firm does, and my department does, is that we have flat fee programs for the handbook generation. And depending upon where you are in your site business life cycle, what goals you have, we can do everything from helping you create a handbook, creating an onboarding process, getting you and your managers trained, reviewing what you've done to date, telling you what needs to change. And we're flexible and to the extent that I can be to work with you, because my law firm, we believe that I believe if you're actually taking the time to pick up the phone and call me about an HR issue, it's a really big HR issue, right? It's something that you're worried about. So we're gonna pay attention to it. And I want you to know that we're always here to help, and that I'm dealing with it now, that if someone would have called me before they decided to deny a reasonable accommodation request because someone was pregnant, they would have prevented a $1,000 plus lawsuit that they're in right now. It may have came to the same result, right? That we can't accommodate you, but you have to follow the process. So that's why I like to do a lot of things in flat fee, so that way you call, because I know that the last person you do want to call is your lawyer, because you have to pay for it. And odds are that the situation is, and when you're calling me, is I feel like I'm in a shitty situation. I might be a little embarrassed that I have to ask this question. So call, no judgment, I promise you. So my contact information, I'll put it in the chat, and I'll ask Theo if you could give it out to everybody else as well, I guess. I'm here to help. I'll put my email and my telephone number and my website, so everyone has it.
Thank you, Lee. We're going to go ahead and keep moving along. We appreciate Lee's expert knowledge and the introduction from Danielle. We did skip ahead a little bit. I just wanted to acknowledge some people that were also in the room, but we'll be hearing from them. We have Ms. Lorraine Leroux, Director of Membership at the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce, and also Mr. Mark Caserta, Executive Director of Business Recovery at the Brooklyn Chamber as well. I'd like to just kind of say hello to those people that are in the room. I know many of you, but let's just do a quick hi and your name and the name of your business. Well, we've already heard from Danielle. I'm joined here with my team, Theo and RT from Perch Advisors. And so we'll just kind of skip through us, but we want to hear from the rest of you. Victoria, say hello, and I'll keep pointing across.
Hi, everybody. My name is Victoria Alexander. I own Realty Collective that's based here in Red Hook on Van Brunt Street. And I'm a co-founder of the Red Hook Business Alliance, and I'm eager for you all to be here and continue participating and growing this great organization.
Thank you. John?
Hi, I'm John Avaluto, and I'm the creative director at the Red Hook Winery.
Wonderful. David?
David Goldberg, Street Plus, also one of the founding members of the Red Hook Business Alliance, and looking forward to moving this organization forward.
Thank you. Chris?
Hi, everyone. I'm Chris Schneider. I'm half of the owners of Shipwreck Miniature Golf on Court Street.
Great.
So glad to have you here, Chris.
Thank you.
Amy, you're on mute. Okay,
Who was next? Amy?
I see Amy Van Doren.
Hello. Hi. Amy Van Doren. I'm currently working from home. I'm a professional matchmaker, so I help people find love and also do coaching around that as well.
Fantastic. Derek?
Derek Spelman, Van Brunt Stillhouse.
Wonderful. And Casey?
Hey, good morning. I'm Casey Fodge. I'm the managing director at Cora Dance on Van Brunt Street.
Super. Well, thank you all for joining us. I wanted to do that introduction earlier, but we kind of wanted to jump in with Lee because we had a lot of valuable information So a couple of quick announcements. Obviously, many of you are members, you know about us, but if you want to become an official member, we drop it on the link about how to join us and where to make the contributions to do so. There's also a membership form where we can capture your data and information, meaning that we want to know your address and your name and the business and the industry. So if you haven't done or completed the membership information form, we ask that you do so. And Theo's going to drop those in the chats for us. Just a reminder, we're wrapping up on a venue survey. I know a few of you have completed it, but we are looking to kind of compile all the venues that are available in Red Hook, as we get sometimes some inquiries for people doing events and they're looking for spaces all around. In this case, specifically, we're looking to help support the Formula E organization that also books VIP events, sponsorship events, dinners and catering and stuff like that. So if you do have a facility, or have a friend or a colleague or a peer that has a facility in Red Hook that is typically available for unique events, whether it's fully catered events or just it's a raw space that people can bring things into, we would love to hear from you. So there's a venue survey that's been circulated that we'd love to get that information. And before we jump into the next group of our presenters, I think we got the hang of it already. It looks like we're all old hat, but if you have a question, please put it in the chat so we can document it, especially if we don't get time to cover it. But feel free to raise your hand either digitally or physically in your screen, and we'll get to you. We'd love to have all the interactive conversations as possible. So without further ado, Theo.
Sure. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our friend and colleague, Mark Caserta. James and I go a while back with Mark. He actually, he recently started this new position as the Executive Director of Small Business Recovery with the Small Business Resource Network. But he's formerly the Executive Director of the Park Slope Fifth Avenue BID. So a longtime advocate for small businesses, has spent over a decade working with small businesses, and also formerly a small business owner. And in his new position, he's with the Small Business Resource Network, which is a public-private partnership. It was launched in response to COVID with grant funding from the Peterson Foundation. And that funding actually supports dedicated small business specialists who are housed at the 5 chambers, who go door to door and have resources to support businesses. So he's going to share a little bit more about what the Small Business Resource Network has to offer.
Thanks, Theo. I guess I don't have anything else to say, so I'm done. So I was looking at my graphic here, and I'm thinking I'm looking a lot like an NFL coach with this hat and this gear on my head. But anyway, let me just share my screen. I have something brief, as long as it works. Okay, can we see that? We good? Okay, so yes, I am 1 month into this position. I was previously working with the small businesses on Park Slope's Fifth Avenue, and kind of in a larger sense as a member of the New York City Bid Association, working with the other 75 bids in the city, but really focusing on the 520 businesses on Fifth Avenue and Park Slope. I did that for like 9 years as executive director, and said, okay, well, this opportunity came around to work with the thousands of small businesses that really need help in Brooklyn specifically, but citywide 230,000. So I've started recently. We are expanding the program. So, I'm hiring 5 more people. I have 7 people working, actually 7.5 working, and we're going to be up to 13 by the time the hiring is done. And we're putting real resources and staff out in the streets. As Theo mentioned, it is a public-private partnership. The Peterson Foundation was the first major contributor. Let me see if I can move on. There it is. We do have funding from the New York City Economic Development Corporation, and it is managed by, kind of overseen by the Partnership Fund for the City of New York. We also just recently received some funds from the federal EDA, Economic Development Association, I don't know, administration, whatever that is. And we will be focusing on some specific areas of need in the city that really were devastated by the pandemic, especially the businesses. So what we offer. So my specialists who work for me, are assigned specifically to zip codes in Brooklyn. We go do tours of commercial districts. We also take calls. We go to community meetings, get the word out on social media and in newsletters. And what we offer is one-on-one work with small businesses, trying to help them on various issues from financing. Do you need a loan? Do you need a grant? The advantage of working with the Brooklyn Chamber is that we actually have funds internally. We have a sort of community development fund. So we can actually give grants and loans internally, but we also have resources we can reach out to and help you apply for externally. And we are also always researching new grants and loans that are out there. The government grants have kind of dried up for the moment, but there are apparently new ones coming from the state once the state budget is passed. And we will be helping a lot of businesses apply for that. We can help with marketing, technology. We do have the ability to hook you up with free legal help when you need it, as well as mentoring. We have 3 restaurant specialists, people who have worked in the restaurant field, who are managers and owners who work directly for me. So if you're a restaurant and you need some advice or just some ideas on who to reach out to, take advantage of it. They're really good at what they do. So again, it's personalized one-on-one support for small businesses, resources. We're looking to build resiliency. So we actually do follow up. We don't just kind of find your help and disappear. We also do a check-in. There's a survey 5 weeks out to see how you're doing. And I follow up and sort of kind of customer service to make sure that you're satisfied. And one of the things that you should know about, it is disappearing soon, unless we are refunded. We have a program called Open and Online. Open and Online is paid for citywide to provide free websites to small businesses within our network if you sign up with us. You can get anything from a free landing page. If you're a restaurant, you can get a free bento box site for ordering. The advantage of working with that is it's not a per order, but rather a monthly charge of around $150 or so. We can help you if you're a basic new business. We can help you create a logo. We have design firms working through that program. And finally, we do search engine optimization. I also want to add, and Chris from Shipwreck knows this, in my program, we do also distribute PPE. We just received an enormous shipment of KN95 masks. If I can, this is me next to the wall of boxes within the chamber office. We have a lot of them here. If you want some, we can provide you through the network. Again, I've mentioned Open Online, and just an idea, these are outdated numbers. I just looked at them recently. We have now reached close to 30,000 businesses in the program. And that's reaching, we've gone door to door to reach them. We've served well over 8,000 businesses and helping them with their needs. And again, the number remains strong to close to 80% of the businesses on our network are MWBE. And that's really all I have. Hold on, I'm going to stop the share and answer any questions.
Great, Daniel.
How would we go about getting the masks? Do we just email you? I know in the past it's been very easy through the chamber.
Yeah, I'm going to put my email in the chat, and then the only problem is Avi, who does the distribution, is away for the next few days, so it'll be next week.
Oh, okay, that's great. I've dealt with Avi before, so beautiful.
Great.
Thank you. It's very helpful. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Sure.
Victoria?
I still have my PPE from the first delivery from Brooklyn Chamber, so good there. And I am just applied for the SEO help through Brooklyn Chamber, though. Is it you're within Brooklyn Chamber? I'm slightly confused.
So the 5 chambers of commerce make up the small business resource network, essentially. So
Okay.
I run the Brooklyn end of the program.
Okay, great. So I am doing the SEO optimization thing. I'm filling out all the forms. We've been accepted. Now I just have to give some feedback and stuff. You said talking about a landing page. Is there any way, do you know how to I had a developer a long time ago build a funnel for me through Unbounce. I have all the emails through MailChimp. I have the landing page. I just don't know how to tie them together. Is that something that you guys have expertise in?
Yeah, I think when you're doing the open online, or just mention it to them that you would like some help with that, because they can help you with that as well, for sure.
Okay, great. I will tell my assistant now. Thank you.
Theo, you had a comment?
Yeah, I'm just curious about the community development fund. How do businesses go about applying for it?
If you want some more information about it, definitely email me. I can hook you up with, we have one person who runs those grants, and I can set you up with a way to apply or get information about them and see if you can actually do that.
Great, thanks.
Great. Anybody else have questions or comments or experiences with the SBRN? David?
Yeah, hi, Mark. I have a question. When you say small business, is there a parameter of what like employees or what the business type needs to be? Is there?
Yeah, I believe it has to be 100 or employees or less.
Okay.
For the network itself.
All right. Any other comments or question for Mark on the Small Business Resource Network?
No, I would just say to people that are on and that just became members, I think everybody here is a member of Red Hook Business Alliance right now. Brooklyn Chamber is still offering 6 months of free membership, right, through us. Is that right, James?
About to jump into that now.
Okay, great, because myself and I know Susan are taking advantage of the SEO optimization, the website stuff, a couple of the services that they are currently providing. And it's been extremely helpful to be able to delegate and outsource these things, that it's not another thing on our plate to manage. So just anybody that is a member wants or is thinking about becoming a member, there are really great resources that you can tap into from your membership here.
Awesome. Thank you. And what a nice segue as we jump into our next presenter, not to be outshone by the knowledge and expertise that our previous ones have presented, but Ms. Lorraine Lowe is the doyen of membership at the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce. And let's just also acknowledge that the Chamber has been an incredible partner to small business throughout Brooklyn during these last couple of years. And we've had the pleasure of hosting and walking around the community of Red Hook a couple times with members of their team. And the Chamber has continued to throw support and show support for Red Hook over the course of the last 2 years by hosting one of their first in-person events as the membership came back to socialize and network, as well as, again, just deploying team members to help bring resources directly to the neighborhood. But at this time, I'd like to introduce Ms. Lorraine Lowe of membership at the Brooklyn Chamber to share with us a little bit about the associate program and all that the Brooklyn Chamber is doing and can do to support small businesses in Red Hook. Hi, Ms. Lowe.
Thanks, James. And as soon as you call on me, of course, the work on my street has just begun. So I really hope that you all can hear me. Can you guys hear me okay? Over this digging noise? Okay, great, thankfully. Hi, everybody. Thanks, James. This has been such an awesome discussion, and just it's wonderful to see such wonderful faces. But yes, I'm here to talk about the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce membership offer that we have for the Alliance, Red Hook Business Alliance members. So I'll just dive into that. I will switch to my other screen, excuse me here, as I will share my screen really quickly and be really brief to go over a few of the things that we discussed that we will go over. So many of you will probably already be familiar with this, which is when we started last year, Nicole Biscardi, who is one of our business recovery specialists, was on the ground in Red Hook, just trying to build coalition, mobilize, and be helpful to a lot of the restaurants and overall all businesses. We want Red Hook to, as Danielle mentioned, be a strong microeconomy. And the whole mission of the Chamber of Commerce is to help create an atmosphere of where business-friendly policies are helping small businesses such as yourself thrive and the economy in a whole to succeed. So we're offering this 6-month free membership to all Red Hook Business Alliance members. It's at the $40 membership level. You put your credit card in. We hope that you like the services that you'll get, which I'll go into details about. And after the 6 months, then your credit card will be billed. So I'm going to focus on the access and the benefits that you get from membership in this little mini presentation here, and it will be available to James so that you can take it with you and look at it at a later date. Okay, all right. Let's see. All right, so pretty much this little brief overview, I'm going to talk about the mission of the chamber, the team, what we do, go over a little bit about our membership benefits, the resources, programs, and some of the events that we have, and the offer itself, and just a snapshot of what we've been doing throughout the pandemic. And my colleague Mark has kind of touched on that a little bit, and then our contact info. So for those of you who don't know about the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce, we were previously located downtown Brooklyn, and we've been there for much of our history, which is 104 years. And now we're an industry city, so we're a little bit close to you guys. We are in the main campus on 36th Street on 3rd Avenue, and we've been there since July of last year. And the chamber, you know, we promote our members, we support our members through advocacy, we have programming that connect our members, and we provide support resources. And some of you are familiar with that. And all of that is just to make sure that our little beautiful Brooklyn remains strong and healthy and that our communities can thrive. Okay, so the team, we have 30 folks on the team. Mark is new, as he just mentioned, he's part of our senior leadership team. Our president and CEO is Randy Pierce. And this is just a look at the makeup of the chamber. For those of you who are not familiar, we have several different departments. We have an economic development department, business solutions center. We have a contract with them to provide some of the resources that I'm going to be talking about, all free of charge. And of course, business recovery that Mark is heading. We have a staffing assistance program. We have a lending arm of the chamber, Brooklyn Alliance Capital, which is where our CDFI Community Development Financing Institution is lending microloans to small businesses. And we have a communications, finance, and events department as well. So what do we do? I like to say what we do in these 4 broad brushstroke categories of promotion, support, advocacy, and convening. I'll start with promotion. You know, every single one of you would like to get in front of other businesses, B2B, some of you are B2C, B2B as well. So marketing and promoting your business is top of mind and is very important to you. So through our communication outlets, so that means our social media, our newsletter, our website, and of course our digital platform, which is fairly new, we're able to give visibility to our members who are looking to promote their services and their products. It is a platform that is a social platform, which I'll talk about a little bit more in detail, but it's there 24/7. Your storefront is open for you to connect in a social way with other business owners. We're able to spotlight you in our newsletter on social media, as I mentioned. So if you have any press releases, if you have anything new that's going on, any events, any new promotion that your business is offering, we're able to promote them across our outlets. So we really urge you to try out the 6 months and take advantage of the promotional opportunities across our media outlets. We also have sponsorship opportunities. And James mentioned, you know, last year in June, I believe it was June, when we first started in-person activities, Red Hook was first and center for us. We were at BWAC, Brooklyn Waterfront Artists Coalition, and then Keg and Lantern for our convening for drinks and snacks. So those types of events were sponsored by those 2 organizations, small business. So if you're interested in sponsoring an event, such as a networking event, like either providing a raffle item or your venue or snacks from your business that you want to share or anything, we're able to do that. You'll be able to get sponsorship when we promote the event, and you'll be able to have a speaking role during the event as well. In terms of support, we mentioned some of that through the Small Business Resource Network. These are all, you know, key and important programs to help lift small businesses out of the gutter that they fell in due to COVID, and also just other, you know, economic issues that are going on that are causing businesses to suffer still, whether it's having employment issues, whether it's still unable to see the capital improvements happen fast enough. You know, we want you to be resilient, so we are providing these free resources and technical assistance to help you grow, launch your business, and thrive. So that could be, free business courses through the Business Solution Center. It could be the 30-minute of free legal consultation if you have an issue with your contract or your lease or some other legal issue that you have questions about. That 30 minutes could be a lifesaver and help save you money down the road. If you're interested in the services that Mark mentioned before, whether it's business coaching, marketing assistance, free website, consultation, we're able to help with that as well. And of course, neighborhood economic development, bid formation, building coalition, and stakeholder engagement is something that we're doing at the neighborhood level throughout Brooklyn as well. So, us coming into Red Hook and offering our services is one way of building stakeholder engagement and forming strong ties with our communities to make sure that they know that we're there as an advocate. And of course, business advocacy. We are a business advocacy organization. We are working with our, local leaders and business owners to amplify their concerns in front of the elected official. So, we want to promote business-friendly policies and legislations to make sure that any concern that our small businesses or community have will be addressed, hopefully by the elected officials when we take one of our, two business advocacy trips throughout the year. So in March, excuse me, we take a trip to Albany. This year we will be convening, I believe, virtually in March. So we bring a set of legislative agenda items. We bring a delegation of members with, regulatory concerns or other issues on the government affairs front, and we speak and we talk and we engage with our elected officials. And then similarly, on the federal level, we take a delegation of members and our agenda points to Washington, D.C. and speak to our local representatives there as well. And all that is to make sure that we're amplifying the concerns that are of great importance to constituents within their districts. So if you're interested in that, you can join the Government Affairs Committee and be able to have an active role, advocating for your small community in Red Hook. And of course, convening, we have had focus groups with our health industry leaders, with our technology industry leaders, education, and we want to convene these groups again so that we understand what their challenges are, so that we can mobilize, share resources, and create greater synergies so that we are, again, making sure that Brooklyn is being a leader and being able to make sure that all of the work that we do is in hopes of strengthening the way that we do business and work. So we like to collaborate, we like to partner, we like to form interest groups, we like to bring our members together and discuss important issues. And also it's a way for us to bring our members together in committees. So we have several committees that members can join and convene and have peer-to-peer discussions of a similar mindset. Some of the member benefits, I will break those down into 3 categories. I mentioned the Brooklyn Marketplace, and that is our digital platform. It is really a value-added technology that the Chamber has invested in for members to be in front of each other, to be able to localize our Brooklyn economy and be able to get together to strengthen the work that we are doing here in the borough. So every one of you will get an enhanced member directory page. Some small businesses don't have a working website or it's taking a while to build, it's costly. They can actually use the URL from their directory page to serve as their main business landing page. It's very beautiful, it's attractive. If you visit the www.thebrooklynmarketplace.com, I'll put all that info in the chat, you'll be able to see what that looks like and make sure that you put your services, your offers, your events on your directory page, all of your certifications, your gallery of beautiful pictures to show the type of work that you're doing. It's all one way of attracting and representing your business to others. You can join affinity groups, communities, post content, transact business, all of this is to drive commerce to your business. And it's really a great tool. Like I said, it's open 24/7. That's your storefront. It's social and interactive. And I really hope that you take advantage of that. community that we're fostering there. And of course, member-to-member benefits and discounts, which is also really important. You gain value and savings from the perks of membership as I'm outlining here. So we have a tuition scholarship program with a local college, St. Francis College, and now Berkeley College is offering up to 50% discount off of their tuition for associates, bachelor's, and master's degree programs. We have Staples Corporation, and they're offering a discount for their in-store purchases. You get 10% off and 20% off printing and marketing services. And we're working with Cranes Business Weekly to give a 3-month subscription to members. And after that, you'll pay a nominal rate. And we also have a dental plan that's very attractive. It's $7 for individuals and $12 for families. It's called Smile-In. It's really great. It's a great alternative to traditional dental plans, and it's something that is fantastic, and you should really look into it. And of course, members are offering member-to-member discounts as well for each other. And of course, the technical assistance programs that I mentioned earlier. If you're a minority or a woman business enterprise, we can help you get certification to increase your opportunities to have access to RFPs and procurement opportunities. All of this is available on the go. So our Chamber on the Go van, many of you have seen them, seen my colleague Luke in his van with my other colleagues, delivering PPE or offering mobile service or, intaking information to be able to provide a lot of these resources to your business as well. If you are looking to staff an open position, we can support you with that to develop your workforce. So, you can let us know about that. Manufacturing assistance, if you're manufacturing products, we can help you with your certificate of origin, export documentation. If you're looking to attend trade shows, we can help you apply and get the subsidy from Empire State Development to be able to get up to 75% discount off of the cost of attending the trade show. And of course, we have various trade missions. Currently, we're working with Seoul, South Korea and Ghana, and they're all interested in working with our businesses that are manufacturing. Ghana, for instance, they're the #1 cocoa and cashew producer in the world. So they're able to help food manufacturers source those products at a really great price. So those are some of the assistance programs that we are offering with your benefit. And of course, we have several different events throughout the year to bring our members together to network, right? You want to be in front of each other. You want to form intimate business relationships so that folks can refer your business or your organization to each other. And those are powerful connectors. And we find them to be very meaningful. So whether it's online, which we're kind of breaking out of that now for next month, we're going to be getting in front of the membership at business before and after hours. We already have a whole beautiful lineup on our website, which I have down the bottom here. If you visit us, you'll be able to see that coming up next month. We have an in-person business after hours at Kokomo Restaurant in Williamsburg. It's just a Caribbean atmosphere, and it's just a nice way to hang back and relax in a cool setting and get to know your fellow members. Then we're going to go to King's Theater in Central Brooklyn in May. We're going to see a show. We're going to be in their beautiful Queens Lounge networking and having wonderful treats. And then we're going to go to a Cyclones game in June. We're going to head over to New Lab in the Navy Yard and so much more. We have a lot planned out for you. We're going to be in WeWork for business before hours in the Brooklyn Central Library branch. And we always have membership orientations every quarter, so you can learn about your benefits, get to meet the chamber staff, and hear about our programs and resources. So I really encourage you to attend our events. The first event of the year, which is major, is the Black History Month celebration. It's a hybrid. It's going to be live streamed from Weeksville Heritage Center in Eastern Brooklyn. So I encourage you to either sign up online and share the link, which I'll put in the chat, so that you can support the chamber and again see and experience all of the wonderful events that we have planned out for you. We're going to have a restaurant industry event in the fall, our not-for-profit summit as well that's coming up in September, and a retail summit in June. and of course our annual meeting and trade show. We're going to combine it this year with our gala. It was very successful last year, and we're going to do that as well this year. And of course, our lobbying trips that we have planned. So yeah, we want to inform you, we want to engage you, and we want you to be networking with other members as well. And yeah, so this is the membership offer. It's a 6-month trial membership at the $40 monthly level. And this is the code, BCC Red Hook. I'll provide this information to James, which I did already this morning, and he'll share it with you. You can sign up at thebrooklynmarketplace.com, take advantage of that. And yeah, these are all the other great benefits that you get at the various membership level. This is the level here where we have the offer. You get promotion on our website. We're able to help you we're able to help support your ribbon cutting or grand opening or expansion. We come with our scissors, we make remarks, we invite elected officials. So let us know when you're celebrating such an occasion, and we'll be happy to support you. You have access to the marketplace to connect, as I mentioned before. And yeah, so, this is just a look at access in terms of promotional opportunities and other ways that you can use the marketplace to grow your business. And yeah, this just a snapshot look at what we have achieved over the course of this pandemic, visiting commercial corridors over 40, closing recovery loans, and these numbers have increased because we continue to do so. We have helped businesses with their deep cleaning at the beginning of the pandemic, when businesses were just reopening in the different phases. We're able to give out grants up to $5,000 to help businesses clean their facilities, and then delivering over 500,000 units of PPE. We have served over, at this point, close to 8,000 businesses. We have had various press mentions advocating for businesses. We have delivered over 200 heaters to help with outdoor dining and to heat those outdoor structures. And we have a $2.5 million capital for a social justice fund, And we've had over 10 business impact surveys. I put a link in the chat for you to please take our 2021 end of year survey. So to let us know how your business, how you did for 2021. So this way it helps us to stay informed so that we can further advocate for you. And yeah, if you want to reach out to us, this is our contact information. Pooja is helping with she works with our tech partner who's helping with the support for the marketplace, and we hold weekly orientations to get you familiar. Any sponsorship opportunities and event opportunities we can help you with. We have a dedicated page for resources, grants, any type of information like that. It's here when you visit the chambers. It's at the top of the page. And if you want to complete an intake form for what Mark just mentioned, the New York City Small Business Resource Network, this is the link. And of course, we had a dedicated email for COVID-related questions here as well. So contact us, let me know if you need further assistance. And thank you so much for having me share all of this information with you. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Great, thank you, Lorraine. I see a hand from Victoria.
Hi, Victoria.
Yeah. Hi, Lorraine. As usual, good to see you.
Good to see you as well.
That was so much information about all the things that you guys offer, which was really exciting and that I didn't know. Did you say besides the $7 a month dental, was there another healthcare program that you guys offer? Was it just dental?
So we did have healthcare navigators, but we just don't have the contract anymore, but we do have in-house, we have members in-house who are offering healthcare, like Metro Health Plus. We have a healthcare broker, so I can link you up with quite a few members who can help you with that. But Smilin is a provider for non-traditional, they're not an insurance company, but they are a network of dentists. So think of their interfaces looking similarly to Airbnb, where, based on your geographic location, you can see an orthodontist here. They're all kind of part of that network. You can see a general specialist here for cleanings. So, the whole plan is very affordable. Like I said, for an individual, it's $7 a month. And of course, it's, they are attracted to the chamber because of our large membership. So they're offering this rate for us based on the number that we have. So the economies of scale is something that works for them. So I would definitely I'll put you in touch with Derek if you're interested, or you can just go on our website and you can see our partners and you can reach out and sign up for that. But if you're interested in the dental insurance, I can link you up with them.
Yeah, if you can, that would be great, because
Yeah.
my assistant doesn't have dental and I do.
Sure.
And there were just so many things that you said, I couldn't take notes fast enough. I guess I'm glad there's a recording of this, and I will go back to all of the you have all the shows and all this other stuff, the trade shows, and the gala is going to be a trade show. Like, I was overwhelmed by how many things. I'm like, oh, I should do that. Oh, I should do that.
Yeah, no, it's always available. We have monthly orientations, as I mentioned. I know it's a lot. I mean, I just really tried to condense it, but this PowerPoint is also available to you. And I just, I didn't want to speed through much of it, but basically we're able to provide a lot of resources to businesses. But I want to also stress that it's important it's a two-way street and it's 50-50. So I'm going to push out a lot of stuff and do some follow-up, but it's really important to set aside the time or a dedicated staff person to capture and to follow through on a lot of the resources. So somebody's going to have to maybe apply or make a call or maybe attend a meeting, update a page, reach out to other members if you're networking or looking to connect with somebody. So there's another element of receiving the benefits, and we liken it to a gym membership where you do have to
Do the work.
exercise that engagement muscle a bit and take advantage of this resources, or else you won't be able to utilize it. It's really important to be actively engaged.
My assistant's going to reach out and we're going to have a meeting, and then we're going to see what we can do.
Yes,
I really
and
appreciate
I'm
it.
always available for one-on-one as well.
Well, thank you, Lorraine, and thank you, Victoria. I don't see any comments or questions raised by hands or in the chat. And just recapping, a huge gratitude to our presenters today for sharing their information, and for those of you that were able to join us live today on the Zoom. A little housekeeping on our end, as Lorraine mentioned it is a two-way street to build these relationships and these networks and these organizations. And to stay involved and to be a participant is one of the key ways to receive the benefits. Just like she explained and outlined as part of the Brooklyn Chamber, we too at the Red Hook Business Alliance need participation of our community members and all kinds of community members, not just our retail brick and mortars, but our makers, our doers, our at-homers, our artists, our nonprofits, and all that. So ways that we have opportunities at the Red Hook Business Alliance to be a participant and to help kind of shuttle and steward our efforts along are through our committee works as well. We have two major groups of committees that are convening. One is around governance and advocacy, which is, speaking about issues and concerns of priorities for the community, whether it be last mile shipping issues, whether it be road conditions, whether it be the BQE or the BQX announcements that have come through and kind of hit Red Hook. These are where those type of conversations are hosted in the Governance and Advocacy Committee. In addition to helping us kind of create a stronger framework for this organization, the Governance Committee has been working on creating bylaws and starting to institute a formal board of directors, of which we have lined out a structure where we have representation from many of the different segments of industry, including an at-home business as well as a non-for-profit business, to be available to be a rep on the board. But another committee that we work with is our Marketing and Networking Membership Committee. This committee is to help us continue to understand how do we position ourselves both externally to consumers and visitors of Red Hook, but also how do we connect more strongly to our own neighborhood businesses and build relationships amongst and with each other, as was alluded to by Danielle's introduction and Lorraine's underscore of creating this microeconomy and sharing our resources with businesses nearby and keeping all dollars local. So we invite you to as potential members or as existing members to participate effectively with these committees. We are also, as I mentioned, looking for candidates to consider a leadership position as part of our advisory committee and potentially as our board of directors. So we are looking to take nominations, and we will be convening these committees in the coming weeks and months. So please look out for the communications that come our way from the Red Hook Biz Blasts, as well as on Facebook. And I guess at this point, I got my housekeeping into the meeting housekeeping announcements in. If anybody has any final questions or comments, I'd love to offer the floor to you guys. Otherwise, we can go about our Wednesday. Anybody have any final thoughts, questions, or comments? I think Theo put some links in the chat for membership. I think there was a link in the chat for the Brooklyn Chamber's end of the year survey. And then Theo just put in the email for the Business Alliance in the chat as well to maintain effective communications.
I just wanted to say thank you to everyone and to really encourage everyone to reach out to your neighbors and get more people involved. You know, many hands make light work. You know, we really need to push this forward. We had some great momentum. COVID hit. I would love to see that momentum, regained, and really, this is important. There's a lot of things going on in Red Hook, and we should all be involved and all have an easy way to do that. And that's the goal of Red Hook Business Alliance. So thank you for your time. You're on mute.
Well, we thank you all for being here today in our first webinar presentation. We really especially thank our presenters. I know Lee had to leave early, but we thank him from Helbron and Levy. We could not be in a better position with partners like Mark Caserta and Lorraine Lowe over at the Brooklyn Chamber. So we thank you both, to you and your extended team, for all the work and effort that you guys are doing to support businesses in Brooklyn specifically. And thank you to all of our businesses that were able to join us again live. And this recording will be available and posted either on social media or our website for further review in the future. So thank you. Have a great day, and we'll speak soon.
Thanks so much, everyone. Looking forward to the next one.
Thank you. Bye.